If you're watching this video, it's very likely that you have been lied to or at the very least misled about what it actually takes to become a wealthy woman. You see, the problem is that most of the content that you will watch like this is one, either actually leaning you towards stability and not wealth, which are different things, or two, it's advice that's designed to work for men, and you're not a man, you're a woman. And so this is really important. And when I understood these things that I'm about to tell you, that's what took me from being able to go from $50,000 a year to making now well over $50,000 a month with a seven-figure business. And now I am in the room constantly with other wealthy women. And there are so many things I've noticed that all of us do that once you implement, you'll be able to make that shift from middle class to 1%. So let's get right into it. Here's the first thing. The first thing that wealthy women are simply not doing is prioritizing saving in the same way that middle class people are. What do I mean by that? And everybody likes to argue with me about this, but I'm telling you, wealthy people are not worried about saving. They're not worried about having the most money that they can in their bank account where inflation is going to eat away at it. Because the truth is you can never save your way to wealth. You can make $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 a year. And if you were able to save 100% of that, which is generally not possible, you would still only have that $50,000 a year. But if you were able to invest your money and to be able to make more, that is where wealth is going to come in. So if you are that person who has all this money in their savings account that's simply getting eaten away by inflation, you really have to ask yourself, are you looking to be stable, which we should have an emergency fund? And that's why I said that's advice for stability and not necessarily advice for wealth. Now, the second thing that wealthy women are doing, which goes directly into the question I get from number one, which is you're telling me to invest, Coach Danielle, but what do I actually invest in? Well, the first thing that wealthy women invest in is themselves, not stocks, not 401ks, not real estate. The first thing that they invest in is making sure that themselves, that they are in a place where they have all the tools and skills and abilities that they need to be able to move forward. And what I mean by this is books, courses, coaching, sharpening your axe is going to make it 1,000 times easier to cut down whatever trees God has put in your path. Okay. And an example of this is myself. I spend so much time reading books, taking courses and things like that, that by the time I'm ready to actually go out and execute, I am so equipped that it becomes and it looks easy and effortless because of the preparation that I have done beforehand. I am the girl who you see going out and chopping down the tree with one slice, and you see that and people think, oh my gosh, it just happened so easily and so quickly for her. But that's because I spent the time sharpening my axe to get here. For example, can I tell you a quick little secret? This method I'm using right now is something that I read in a book called The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort 5 years ago. And it's when you change the tone of your voice, it causes people to lean in and pay more attention to what you're saying. Did that work on you? Comment below if it did, because that's something that I learned when I was focusing on learning sales methods and things like that, and how tone of voice actually impacts the way that people pay attention to us, how dynamic and energetic we are. And I'm not saying you have to do things the exact same way as everyone else. We all have our unique flavors. But learning those skills and tools is what enabled me to, within my first week of taking YouTube seriously, I now have 10,000 subscribers, have amassed over 8,000 watch hours, and was able to get monetized literally in less than 7 days. And it's not because I'm some guru genius. It's because I spent the time off the camera sharpening my axe. I failed. I did all the other things I'm going to tell you in this video, and that is what enabled me. And you know what? If I lost it all today, I would be able to build it back. And this actually happened to me. We had an issue with a payment processor, and then also our TikTok ended up getting banned for no explanation at all, and I was literally back at zero. And it wasn't even within 6 months that we had already built back a seven-figure business that was making over $100,000 a month in profit. The third thing that wealthy women are doing is we are buying back our time and delegating at every single turn. So if you're watching this and you're already at a point of stability, you're already making enough money that your bills are covered, you have an emergency fund and savings in the bank, but you are saying that your issue is that you don't have enough time to actually invest, to maybe get a course or to work on your skills or something like that. Are you still doing your own laundry? Are you still cooking your own meals? Are you still making your own plans and not actually outsourcing this stuff to someone who can actually do it for you? Like I literally am able to pay someone to come in and to do my laundry for me, and we leave it out on the doorstep, and then it comes back and it's folded or hung, and it actually only costs about $100 a week, which depending on how much money you make is something that is such a great investment for how much time doing laundry can actually take you. How much time are you spending on things that you could literally have someone else do and then be able to buy back your time? And when we look at Proverbs 31, this was not a woman who was the do it all herself. She was not trying to do everything. This was a woman who was wise with what she did with her time. She was in the market, she was selling, she was buying land, she was creating and selling in the markets while she had servants at home who were taking care of those other things for her. And so again, you have to take this with a grain of salt in terms of applying it to your own life and your own unique situation. But the second that you get that era of stability, you should be taking that excess income and investing it in yourself, and then investing in buying back your time so you have more time to put towards growing yourself and actually doing the things that will move the needle on you becoming financially free and becoming wealthy. The fourth thing that wealthy women are doing differently is we're saying no. And this is something that a lot of people simply don't expect, because the truth is the things that you say no to are actually much more important than the things that you say yes to. A lot of people think that wealthy women get to where they're at because we say yes to all the opportunities in front of us, but it's in fact having such a crystal clear vision and saying no to everything that does not align to that. We are vigilant with our time, with our money, with our resources, and saying no to even things that may look like good opportunities on paper, but they're not God opportunities. And what you have to ask yourself is, what would your life look like if for a year you said no to everything that did not align with putting you closer to the life that you were trying to create? How many things are you doing? If you don't want to climb a 9-to-5 corporate ladder, why are you spending all this time working on your resume? Why are you spending all this time on LinkedIn? Why are you spending all this time networking or staying after smoozing up to the boss or whatever else in order to try to climb a ladder to get closer to the top of somewhere that you don't want to be on at all? You need to completely tap out of all of that, and even good things. Things like maybe you're leading Bible study. Maybe you are leading a small group at your church or something like that. Maybe you have some sort of online presence that's more so a charity type thing where you're not really monetizing it, have no intention to, but you're helping people. Well, you can say no to that in the meantime to be able to help in the long run. The way that I look at it is that if I say no now, if I say no for this 1 year, then I can say yes for the rest of my life. If I say no to vacation for 1 year, if I say no to carpooling or to, again, these things that may be good things, but the truth is if they are preventing you from being able to water and sow in the way that you need to in order to build that fruit up, to be able to have that fruit that you will be able to eat off of and be generous to others with for the rest of your life, like that is so much more worth it. And so there was a season of focus in order to gain me a lifetime of balance. And that's another one that I don't even have on the list that I'm just going to tap into so that you can get the full benefit, is understanding that there is a season for balance and there is a season for focus. And people who look at you and tell you with your goals that you're too obsessed, you're doing too much, you need to take a break. What does medium mean? What does balance mean? Balance means to be in the middle. What does that mean? Let's talk about this. Mediocrity. People who tell you to be in the middle are people who are probably meaning so well, but they're asking you to be mediocre. They're saying, because I don't have that same intensity, because I don't have the same focus on my destiny, you shouldn't have that either. And they don't know this. They're not trying to. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're trying to help you, but what they're really doing is pulling you down. Because what you have to understand is, why does God say everything happens in its season? We have the winter where things are laying dormant, but they're being prepared for spring where things are blossoming, where they're being prepared for summer where things are blooming and in full bloom. And then you have fall where the things are being harvested and then they're going back down. And there's a time and a season for everything. And so you have to be able to give yourself that season of focus to cut other things off, to let other things go in order to be able to have your season of balance. But when you don't allow yourself that, you will never actually get to the results that you want. And again, wealthy women, we know this, and we did the work to be able to have that season of focus. And now I get to say yes to whatever I want, whenever I want, for the rest of my life. The fifth thing that wealthy women do differently is we work like women, not like men. And what do I mean by that? We are not constantly grinding and chasing and hunting and what are we running away from? Are our dreams running away from us? Why are we chasing them? Like, what's going on here? We are making sure that we're in alignment with our cycles that God has given us and the strengths that God has given us, and not trying to be these 10x work harder types of people that end up burning out at the end of the day, because that's not what we were designed to do. And we work in accordance with our cycles. At least those of us who are going to to be here for the long term, because I have seen plenty of women, and a lot of women, which you may have even followed here and seen their journey, where they have gotten burned out and literally left YouTube. They have literally closed their businesses. And I've seen this with multiple different people. And that is because they were so busy working like a man and always trying to get to the next thing instead of working in sync with the way that God created them as women. And so when you do that, you not only have the ability to gain wealth, but you have the ability to sustain it in a way that is opportune for you as a woman to be able to live a life that is stress-free, a life that is enabling you to go with your flow, quite literally, and to have seasons of rest and to be able to focus on your well-being, knowing that for me, the most profitable month that I have ever had, I made over $200,000 in a single month, and that is in profit. And I had only worked maybe 8 or 9 hours the entire month. I was working like 2 hours a week on my business because we were out of town. We were with my family. We took them on an all expenses paid Disney trip, and we just had so many amazing things going on. And I felt so good that the content that I created, it echoed that. And I was able to get more money than I have ever gotten doing as little work as I ever had. And so you really have to drop that mindset and understand that rest is something that God gives you as a gift in order to make it so that when you're working, that you can actually do it so much more effectively and so much more intentionally. The sixth thing you're going to start doing differently to become a wealthy woman is to choose progress over perfection. This is something that I see with my students all the time who are normally coming to me with no business experience whatsoever and want to get to a place where they're making a minimum of $10,000 to $20,000 a month within a year or so. And they will never do this if they do not get over this. And a fun statistic or a little story that is actually true is when it comes to job applications, this is a great place that we see this. Most men will apply for a job if they meet between 40 and 50% of the actual job requirements, whereas women will feel like they need to meet between 80 and 90% of the job requirements in order to actually get the job, which is crazy. And this is why so many men end up doing better, because they have that ability to just push for progress and to try things, even if they might not work out. And so I always tell my students 80%, you're looking for 70 to 80%, you're looking for good enough. And if you can move forward with good enough, then you will be able to progress and to get better and better. But you trying to be perfect before you even turn on the camera is the thing that's holding you back more than probably anything else on this list. And that brings me to point 7, is that they embrace failure as an opportunity to learn. There are no losses, just lessons. And we are able to look at things and be excited about failure because we know it's just one more step. I believe the inventor of the light bulb said that. He said, "I haven't failed. I have found 1,000 ways that simply do not work." And when you look at failure like that, like, yes, I failed. When you look at, if you've never seen Meet the Robinsons, go watch it. It's an amazing movie that talks about how we should keep moving forward. And I just wish everyone could have that mindset, because it would push you forward a lot closer to the lifestyle that you want to have and to being the type of woman who can hold the wealth that you're asking God to bless you with. And so when you have that mindset where you know that that failure is still working for you, because all things work for good for those who are called and who love God and are called according to his purpose, then you can be confident that even if it doesn't seem like it's working for you, then it may be working for you by working on you, by teaching you something, by growing you in some way that will be necessary for you to understand in order to be able to move forward to that next level. The 8th thing is something that I know is going to be hard for a lot of people, but you really need to hear this. And this is like an industry, like trade secret that I feel like nobody is talking about because they're all just faking it. The truth is that wealthy women move forward not because they are confident, but because they are courageous. Because at the beginning, when you're just starting something, people will feel like, oh, well, how am I confident? I'm not confident about this. Well, of course you're not. You've never done it before. You're not supposed to be confident. You'd be delusional, which, by the way, delusion is not a fruit of the spirit, y'all. We need to stop saying that, but that's a separate video topic, all right? But that is crazy that you would feel extremely confident about doing something that you've never even done before. Because here's the thing, you don't become confident until you become competent. But in order to become competent, you have to try and you have to fail and you have to get it wrong before you get it right. So then you're not pulling from confidence at the beginning, you're pulling from courage, you're pulling from courageousness, you're pulling from God is with me. And this is the same Holy Spirit in me that raised Christ from the dead. And so there is nothing that he has put for me to do that I will not be able to accomplish with his power, because he literally created the work for me to do, or he created me to do the work and the work for me to do before he created me to do the work. And so when you know that like this is the path that God has set before me and he's going to equip me and he's going to teach me and tell me exactly what I need to do and give me step-by-step directions, and I'm going to trust him in faith even when I don't know where I'm going, even though I don't know how it's going to end, that I can just do something if I know that it's not sin, and trust that, what does the Bible say? That the heart of the man plans his ways, but the Lord directs his step. And so I'm going to step trusting that the Lord is going to continue to direct me. And when you have that mindset and when you understand that it is courage that you're pulling from, then you feel a lot less pressure to feel perfectly confident and perfectly secure about everything that you do. You just know, okay, I'm going to trust God. I'm going to take the next step, and it's going to work out, because all things are going to work out for me because I love God and I'm called according to his purpose. And that's what his word has promised me. And the final thing that wealthy women do differently is that they are generous. They understand that there is more than enough room at the top for everyone. And people always think that I am so crazy when they hear about how much value I give in the free training, which is in the description below for those of you who are interested in learning how to do what I do, which is take my skills and put them into a passive income system that can teach other people. And that can be any skills that you have, from gardening to resume building to dog walking, it doesn't matter. But point being, when I am giving this type of valuable information on YouTube or a free training or workshops or something like that, and people will say, well, if it actually worked, why would she tell other people? Because the pie is big enough, y'all. It's not, there's not a finite amount of money in the world. It's not a matter of if I light someone else, then it's going to take any shine from my candle. Everybody watching this video could stop right now and go and join my program and implement the steps and become wealthy. And it would not take a single dollar out of my pocket, because there is more than enough room at the top for all of us. And so wealthy women are not gatekeeping. They're excited to talk about the things that got them there, the differences and the struggle, and specifically for self-made wealthy women. And I prefer the term God-made as a Christian, but for women who got there and God inherited it, I don't know about them, but I know for women who got there themselves, we are just so passionate and excited about helping other people because it has changed our lives. And if you want to know more about what that life change could actually look like, then the next video is going to be perfect for you, because I'm going to be diving into the unspoken luxuries that come with wealth and how it has changed my life, and not the obvious ways of a nice car or home or whatever, but the things that I feel like almost no one is talking about. So if that is your goal, to live a wealthy lifestyle, and you want to learn more about what it'll be like once you're there, and you love dreaming and planning and all of that, then make sure you subscribe to be notified when my next video comes out, where I'll be going over the unspoken luxuries of wealth. And if you're ready to dive into your own wealth journey and learn from me, then you can check the description below, where I will have all the details to access that free training that you can watch right now.